Hey sis, welcome to Church Girl Chats, the podcast where faith meets real life. I'm so excited that you're here. This is a space for Christian women who are navigating faith, culture, and the beautiful and sometimes messy journey of modern life. Whether you're a seasoned saint, a new believer, or somewhere in between, this podcast is for you. Here, we're diving into the conversations that matter most, from growing in your walk with God to balancing relationships, health, wealth, purpose, and all of the things that come with being a church girl in today's world. So grab your tea, your coffee, or whatever keeps you going, and let's get into it. This isn't just a podcast. It's a community, a sisterhood, and a place where we can keep it real, keep it kingdom, and keep growing together. Let's chat.
Hey everybody, it is your girl Cheryl and welcome to Church Girl Chats, where we share all things church culture, church history, all things self-development, professional improvement, everything right here. Hey Lady Armstrong, thanks so much for joining. I am so glad that y'all are here tonight. This is going to be good. So I'm going to ask you all to do what we always do, and that is to like and to share. So if you are watching on Facebook, go ahead and share this with somebody. Don't be stingy. Share. If you are on YouTube watching with us, I want you to go ahead and hit that like button as well, so that we can get more people on and to discover what we're going to be talking about tonight. If this is your first time joining, I am Cheryl Thomas. I am a minister, best-selling author, speaker, and a digital, social, and print media coach and strategist. So I'm so excited, y'all. See, I'm getting my words all mixed up. I'm excited about what we're going to be talking about on tonight. And if you haven't already, I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, Church Girl Nation, I want you to go ahead and do that as well. I'm going to be dropping a lot more content there, some content that I won't share here on the podcast, but that will just be think pieces, think for you to think about, whether they are culturally relative, whether they're business significance. We're going to be dropping them there, so be sure to go ahead and do that as well. But y'all know on tonight, we're going to be talking about keeping love alive. And let me tell you, when I was trying to plan out the podcast topics for not just this season, but also for this month, for Love Month, I wanted to do different segments all around the theme of love. Last week, we talked about finding love after divorce. This week, which is the week of Valentine's Day, I wanted to talk about marriage and sustained marriage, happy and healthy marriages. And for me, I don't have to look far to see that. I can look at my own home and look at my parents, who this year, y'all, this coming summer, this June, they will be married 62 years. Yes, 62 years is a long time to spend with someone, to thrive with someone, to go through the ups and downs of marriage and of being with someone, living with someone, discovering who they are. And so I'm so excited about that. So, and if you are married, I want you to go ahead and drop in the comments how long you've been married in the comments so that we can celebrate you too. But so I was talking to my parents earlier this year, asking them, say, hey, I want to do another podcast with you all talking about love and keeping love alive or making love last or something along those lines. And I remembered the first podcast that I did with them several years ago. And as I was watching that podcast, I was like, okay, you know what? Before I do part two of this, which I am going to do, y'all, probably around their 62nd anniversary, I'll probably do that. But that podcast had so many gems. It had so much knowledge, so many nuggets in it. I was like, no, we have to show this again. They have to see this again. All right, Lady Armstrong, 33 years in September. That is amazing. What a huge, huge accomplishment. Congratulations to you and Pastor. So what I'm going to do on tonight, I told y'all this is going to be Church Girl Chats Classics. I wanted to show you all that particular podcast that I did. It's been about six years ago, but they were dropping jewels. They were dropping so much wisdom that I wanted to share it again because I think it is really, really relevant in the season that we are living in. So, and I'm going to do it in two parts. The first part is going to be about, well, we'll just dive into it. We're going to do it into two parts, and then you'll see me come in right after. Well, you'll see me again. And note that when we drop into this first segment, the top part of that is going to be me doing a prayer, the prayer that I always do before we begin a podcast. So I won't do the prayer here, but you will drop right in as we're doing the prayer. And then we're going to jump into the story of my parents who have been married for 62 years this coming June. So I'm not going to give any further ado. Let's jump into the conversation and see how that went.
Lord, I thank you that you give us wisdom for how to relate in marriages, how to relate in relationships. I thank you that you give us wisdom in who and how to choose. Lord, I thank you for this wonderful couple that's going to share with us on tonight. We're so excited about us. Bless us to glean the wisdom from them, or bless us to just soak it in and be able to use it and regurgitate it at the appropriate times. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So most of you all know who I have seated to my left. It's going to be to your right, but it's to my left. These are my wonderful parentals, my mother and father, Deacon James Thomas and Minister Annie Thomas. They have been married for how long?
55 years.
55 years. And for those of you that are watching and you are married, I want you to put in the comments how long you've been married. I want to get like a gauge of people on here, how long you've been married. Like you just heard my mom said, 55 years. And if you haven't learned some things in 55 years of being with somebody, so I know they have so much to share. 55 years, it's a blessing to be able to be with somebody that long. So we thank God for their 55 years. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in. We're going to dive into the questions. My first question, and we'll do ladies first. My first question is going to be for my mom, is going to be, how did you and Dad meet? How did y'all meet? How did it start out?
Well, actually, it's almost like we've always known each other. We sort of grew up together.
Okay.
I knew his parents and I knew the children. We wasn't in the same community, but we always knew each other so long that I don't even know exactly when.
Okay. Wow.
I knew who he was, but I've known who he was almost all of my life.
Okay. Dad, what do you remember about meeting Mom?
I recall a little differently, I guess.
Okay.
I recall we used to ride the same school bus in junior high school.
Okay.
We were country kids, so we caught the bus to the city school.
Okay.
And so I guess I met her for the first time in junior high school.
Mm-hmm.
But we never had any chemistry until my last year in in high school.
Uh-huh.
We're in the same class together.
Chemistry.
Physical science class.
Oh, they were in physical science. The chemistry struck.
Okay. Yeah, and as I recall, I think it was a couple of girls I was kind of just playing with. So I asked her to give me a hug. And she said, "No, I better not do that. If I do, I might squeeze you too tight." And I said,
Do y'all hear that?
That's when I knew she
Look, game.
That's when I knew she was on the hook.
He knew he had her in. Let me ask you this. I didn't put this on the questions that that I gave to you all. What was it about Mom and Dad? I'm gonna let you answer that one first, and then Mom, I'm gonna ask you the reverse. What was it about Daddy that attracted you to each other?
I think primarily she was not like the rest of the girls that I was playing around with. She was a saved girl.
Okay. She knew the Lord.
Bad boys attracted to saved girls.
Okay. So she different.
Yeah, so I think that probably was it. She was different.
Okay.
And she had big legs.
See, y'all, okay. And this is stuff that they don't tell you in church. They be telling you stuff, oh, she loved the Lord, but then you heard the other part. She had big legs. He was a leg man, see? So y'all just tell the truth, brothers. Tell the truth. What you like, don't keep it. Although there is a great spiritual aspect to it, there's also just a human aspect to why we are attracted to what we're attracted to. Okay, Mom, for you?
Okay. I guess he was such a gentleman, and he was smart. And at first, the chemistry wasn't there. Since I knew him, I wasn't really sort of thinking romantically about him. And I have a friend that actually sort of jarred me.
Okay.
Since I wasn't paying very much attention to him. And one day she told me, she said, "Anna girl, that boy likes you."
She had to be pushed.
Said, "Oh, really? You think so?" So I started paying more attention to him and, his reaction and so forth. And I was hooked.
He got over that intelligence.
Yes.
It'll get you every time. That's probably why I like intellectual men. It's all my mama's fault. Y'all blame her, okay? Okay, so good. So that's the introduction of how you all got together. You've been married 55 years, 4 beautiful daughters. 4 beautiful daughters.
Yes.
2 beautiful granddaughters. I want to know, what's the major thing that you think that has helped you stay together for that long? Especially as we look on the landscape now, it almost doesn't even matter whether you're Christian or not. The divorce rate is so high in both. I think it's almost 50% in both.
Right.
So what was it? What's the glue that has kept you all together for that long? Either one.
Well, I think probably the fact that we were raised in Christian homes with certain moral values and common values religiously. I think that was probably one of the things that we understood, that marriage was a lifetime journey. Once you got in it, you toughed it out.
Yeah.
Whatever came up, you dealt with it. And longevity in marriage is really like a longevity in any other system of life. If you want to have a long life on the job, you got to do what's right.
Right.
You got to nurture the things that is important to the employer. If you got a plant that you want to grow to be strong and healthy and productive, you got to do the right thing by it. You got to water it. You got to give it the right food. You got to nurture it. You got to prune it. You got to keep the bugs out of it. So in your marriage, you got to keep the bugs out. You got to keep the foxes out.
Right.
just because you get married, the foxes don't stop chasing.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make sure you keep the foxes at bay
Okay.
on both sides. So I think longevity there in the marriage is because we had common values, and we knew that it was something that you didn't take lightly.
Right.
Okay, it was for life.
Okay.
And of course, children always bring a lot of glue.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have as much glue as some of the other factors.
Okay.
Once you have the bonding of children,
Mm-hmm.
it will be hard to run away from that.
Mm-hmm. We were part of the glue. Okay, Mom, you want to answer that?
That's pretty much
Mm-hmm.
my thinking. Also, you have to have that determination that it's going to work. You're going to make it work. And you also have to remember when you begin to have problems, not to think it's the other person more so than it is you, because it could be you too. And by you forgiving the other person, you know that the other person is going to forgive you, because you're both are going to make mistakes. You're both are going to have faults. You both are going to have things that, sometimes not going to be pleasing. So being forgiving and considerate.
Okay. Would you say that you have to have yourself in a mode of consistently forgiving throughout the duration? I know a lot of times we think of forgiveness as a one-time act, but that you will have to have a heart of forgiveness over the duration.
Yes, you would have to have a heart of duration in forgiving, because you change too. You're not the same. You go through different phases, different stages, and as you change, what you are forgiven of one time, it may be completely different the next time. It may be something that you never thought that you would do or say or whatever the case may be, but you need forgiveness. So it's over the duration of the marriage.
Okay. Were you surprised? I'm going off the cuff again. Were you surprised at the different seasons in like how you changed as individuals, how you changed as people, and having to come back together with a come to Jesus meeting? I'm a little different now. I see things a little bit differently. I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago or 20 years ago when we first got married. How does that affect marriage?
I think it's kind of gradual realization that, like maybe every 10 years you look back and say, I don't think like I used to think about what used to be irritating, don't irritate you anymore.
Okay.
Like mannerisms, behaviors, things that you used to, tick you off. It don't bother me anymore. It's getting to be something I can roll with.
Okay.
So, and I think that happens periodically. You just have a reflection moment, and you realize that I've grown past that, and it's no longer one of those little things I got to fight over.
Okay. So you learn
what's important.
What's important, what's worth fighting over, what's not worth fighting over. Okay, awesome. All right, the next one was, what's the number one thing that you think singles should look for in a mate? Now I'll let Mom go first. Number one thing singles should look for in a mate.
Okay. First, you got to know a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And you got to be true to yourself.
Okay.
And then you can begin to decide what kind of mate you want.
Okay.
A lot of people think, well, I want a husband like my dad. I want a wife like my mother. But you are a different person.
Right.
So you have different needs and you have different desires. So you start looking for someone, first of all, that loves you, that loves God. That's very important, especially for Christians, that they have someone that loves God. Because if they love God, they're going to love you.
Right.
If they love you, then that will sort of complete the two of you. And you want someone that respect you, that respect women, and that shares.
Okay.
Not selfish.
Can be selfish.
No, you want someone that, is willing to share, someone that's going to be thoughtful, and someone that love, if you kind of watch, you can see where love and concern shows when you are communicating, also
Okay.
when you are around people, how they react. You really have to pay attention to people's reaction to their words, some, but mostly to their actions when they are really dealing with people, when they are really, in exchange, actively and communicating.
Okay.
Yes.
So we need to be watchful, watch
Yes.
the person, how they react to other people, how they communicate with other people, to find out not just what they say,
Right.
but what they do.
Right.
Yeah, Daddy.
Okay, the question asked about one thing. I think that to only look for one thing, you're going to be cheating yourself.
Look for more than one thing. See,
Yeah.
that's what I always say too. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
If you're only going to look for one thing, for example, you're looking for a guy that has a nice body.
Mm-hmm.
10 years down the road, that body is going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And all you're going to be left with a lifetime of nothing, a fat and flubber. You got
A lifetime of fat and flubber.
And so what are you going to draw on then?
Right.
If you're going to sustain, long marriage, you got to think long term.
Right.
Marriage is not an emotional decision. You got to put some logic into your thinking when choosing. So I would suggest, if I had to narrow it down to one thing that would take priority over the others, I would say character.
Character. I like that.
And character is what a person will do when you're not around. When somebody's eyes is not on him. It's his behavior.
Right.
How would he behave? Will he cheat, when you ain't around? If you have basic moral character in a person, man or woman, then there's something that person will do no matter where they are, who they're around. Something they won't say.
Right.
A person that is characterless will steal. The person who has great moral character will steal even though he's in the midst of the bank vault. He's not going to steal.
Right.
And the person with great moral character ain't going to cheat, even though he's around he works in a job with 100 females. He don't have the propensity to cheat.
Right.
So I would say, look at a character. And
Okay.
I would say, look for that in all scenes that you're in with him. When you're out to lunch, watch how he handles the waitresses. Okay. When he's in traffic, particularly when he's driving.
When he's driving.
Because driving gives a good measure of your temperament and what you do under pressure.
Okay.
So when you're driving, if you're always talking, you don't see that light, get gone. Why are you cutting in front of me? See, that tells about your patience and your temperament. And if that temperament is out in the open when he's just not close to people, when he's close to you and you tick him off, or her off,
right?
Then that's what's going to come out. So you have to, watch for temperament. But and I would also look for a person and what's his attitude about hard work. If it's a person that don't seem to be inclined to keep a job, that's
have 20 jobs in the last 2 years.
That's probably what you're going to get, and it goes to character again. If you got character, you can build on something. But if you have no character, then you have nothing to build on. So if you're going into a relationship with a characterless person, then you don't have much to build on. I probably also would kind of check out, as we talk, what his vision is about his future and how that fits into a family life.
Right.
If he only wants to be a workaholic, only wants to amass money, okay, for the sake of amassing money, then that's going to be a neglecting of the children, and it's not going to be something that's going to promote, a long, happy relationship. So I would look at that, whether male or female.
Right.
I would look at what their vision is, okay, for future and how that fits into family life.
Okay.
So those are some of the key things that I would look for.
Okay. Yo, we got some good nuggets. I should have been writing down. It's a good thing this recording. But one of the things that you said that really caught me was that marriage is not an emotional decision.
Right, it's not.
And I think especially in this generation, a lot of us, we build or we want to build relations based off of emotions. How do I feel about this person when I'm in their presence? How do I feel? Instead of, those character-based things, like you said, does this person have a vision for the future? Do they even have a vision for their future? Can they see themselves the next 5 years? And do I fit in the vision that person has? Whether you are a man or a woman, if you're a woman and you're looking at a man, is there any room for me in his vision? Or if you are a man, does she have time for me? Is she so directed and she's so focused and so goal oriented? Will she have time for me in her life? Is there a place for me? So I like those kind of tidbits that I think sometimes we get so emotional, y'all, that we aren't looking for, because we're like, he's cute and he does nice things, or oh, she's fine or whatever. But you're not thinking, can she pray for me? She's fine, but is that it? Can she cook? She's fine, but does she have space and time for me? He has money, but is he selfish with it? Does, like my mom said earlier, is he kind of person that shares? Is he a giving, generous hearted kind of person? Because he can have all the money in the world that he could take care of you, but maybe his heart won't allow him to. He's not in the position to do that. So it just behooves us as single people looking for the person that God was going to bring, to not put so much of our emotions into that decision, to make sure that we're putting our mental faculties into that decision. I remember something, Daddy, you told me a long time ago. He said, when you told me when I was dating somebody, he said, never give your whole heart to somebody.
Absolutely not.
Never give your whole, y'all hear that, women?
Measure it out piece by piece. See, that's how people get heartbreak. It is so, and ladies are guilty of just, once they fall in love, they give a man their whole heart. And when he breaks your heart, you got nothing much left.
Right.
So you always measure it. Don't give it all to him or her.
Right.
Just a little bit at a time. And if they prove faithful to guard that part of it, then more and more until you give them your whole heart.
Okay.
But you don't want to run the risk of losing everything in a broken heart.
Yeah, I like that. Y'all hear that? Measure it out, piece by piece.
I'd like to add to that too, because many people feel, when they are young and they're falling in love, and like you say, giving your whole heart, you really don't really know what love is all about. You think you're in love. Yeah, that is the emotional part of it. But as you grow and learn about the person, learn to know the person more and more, you fall more and more in love. You're giving more and more of your heart. But love does not come overnight. It does not come all at once. It grows. You may even not think you can love a person, but when you get to know the person, you can love the person, and you love them more and more and more, and love grows more and more over the years. I thought I loved them to begin with, and I guess I did to a certain extent, young love. Right. But then over the years, I've grown to love him more and more and more.
Okay.
Yes. So you have my whole heart.
You heard that? She loved him more and more and more.
There is no magic bullet called love.
Right.
And there's not going to be a white knight coming in wish you off and give you everything that your daddy didn't give you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so get over it.
There is no magic bullet called love. I like that, because I think as women, sometimes that's our expectation, because we were sold this bill of goods with the whole, fairy tale, and that he was going to come and he was going to sweep us off our feet and blah, 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 blah. And then when we realize that that's not how it happens, but then a lot of times, either we didn't, I told my mom this a couple years ago, either we weren't listening when y'all were trying to tell us, or nobody sat us down long enough to tell us love is not what you think it is. You think love is, all feelings and all emotions, but love is a choice to be with somebody through the good, through the bad, through the ups and through the downs, persevering with that person, learning who they are, and learning how to love them in all seasons of life. And so I think once we teach young single people the true essence of what love is and what love means, what love looks like, so that when it comes, we know how to recognize true love instead of this, infatuation and this emotion stuff. Because I know so many people, and I have so many friends that quote unquote fell in love only to find out that it wasn't what they thought it was. They got in situations and this is not what I signed up for. And so I think forums like this allow us to see a true picture of what love is. 55 years of being with somebody, ups and downs, good times, bad times, but still sticking together, staying together, making a commitment to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Are y'all enjoying this? I hope you all are. And don't be afraid. I'm only here for a second just to make sure that everybody's enjoying this, and that if you haven't already shared this, go ahead. If you know anybody that's married, getting married, want to be married, they need to be on this listening. So I just wanted to jump in just a brief moment just to check in to see if y'all are enjoying it. If so, go ahead and hit that like button, throw up some hearts so that we know that you are enjoying it. So this is just a brief commercial break. I'm going to put on a quick commercial to let you know some things that are going on, and then we'll go right back into the conversation. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey sis, it's Love Month, and I've put together something special just for you. If you're a woman waiting on God's best, preparing your heart for God's timing, or simply wanting to speak life over your love journey, then you're going to love this. Introducing the Wife in Waiting Bundle, a powerful digital collection designed to encourage, equip, and prepare you for the love story God is writing for you. And the best part? It's available for immediate download, which means no waiting, no shipping delays, just instant access to start your journey today. Here's what's inside. Dear Future Husband ebook, a heartfelt guided devotional filled with 31 days of wisdom, encouragement, and faith-based prayers for women believing God for marriage. Dear Future Husband Journal, a beautifully designed lined digital journal where you can record your personal thoughts, prayers, and reflections as you trust God for your future spouse. Print it out or use it digitally. Preparing for Love, 30 days of kingdom affirmations for your future. Speak life over your love journey with faith-filled declarations that will strengthen your heart, build your confidence, and keep your hope alive as you wait on God's best. And guess what? This entire instant access bundle is available for just $17 for the month of February. Sis, if you're ready to prepare, pray, and position your heart for God's best, this bundle is for you. Click the link in the comments to grab yours today. Download instantly and start your journey toward love and faith. Remember, this special offer is only available for Love Month, so don't wait. Let's get ready for the God-ordained love story you've been praying for.
And y'all, I'm going to let y'all ask a question. I'm going to give our final question. So if you all have any questions that you would like to ask the wise sage couple here, put those in the comments. I'm going to try to be looking down. It says somebody says we need to do a part 2. So I know y'all. Hey, everybody that I haven't said hello to. And so this is for the last question is for young couples, people that have been married, let's say 10 years or less. What advice would you give to young couples?
Okay. Hang in there.
Hang
Don't
in
let
there.
go.
Don't quit.
And just be considerate. I would say one of the most important things in marriage is communication. Communication is so important. When we first got married, I wasn't a big communicator. I, didn't say all that I needed to say. I didn't say when I needed to say it. But if you learn to communicate, whatever the situation is, whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking, share it with your partner and be ready to listen to what they have to say too. So learn to communicate, and also keep in mind, no one's perfect. Your partner is not perfect, but neither are you. So we grow together, we learn together, we learn to love more and more. That is our goal, to love with our whole hearts, to seek the good of the other. He seeks to please the wife seeks to please the husband, not thinking of yourself all the time, but thinking of your mate and thinking of the family, where we can go from here together as one unit, not as two separate units.
Okay, I like that. I like that, Dad.
Okay. When I give advice, I want to make sure that I'm giving good advice.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose to write this question down.
Okay.
And I chose to do a couple of bullets on it.
All right. This is going to be juicy. Y'all get your pen and paper.
I think advice is given out every day by a lot of folk, good, bad, and ugly advice.
Right.
But I want to make sure that any advice I give has some level of soundness to it, and I don't want to just flip off something off the cuff.
Right.
So I thought about this question, and I chose to write down a couple of bullets. So if you don't mind, I'm going
no problem.
I'm going to take a look at my note here.
Let's see if I can get some of it.
Okay. And one thing I chose to offer is that you have a lot of common sense in your relationships. Common sense ain't common. That's why we have so many problems. You don't have common sense. Somebody's got to know when to shut up. Okay, somebody got to know that there's always got to be an adult in the relationship.
Right.
And it may be you today, and it may be me tomorrow, but one of us got to stand up and be the adult.
Right. 2
kids is a recipe for Judge Judy show.
Yeah, we don't want that.
2 kids fighting and no adult. Okay, you're gonna be on Joe Brown divorce court. You're gonna be out the door. Out the door. So use plenty of common sense. And I always say do not sweat the small stuff. If you use all your oil, okay, cooking and rehashing the small stuff, when the big fish come along, you ain't gonna have no oil to fry the big fish.
Right.
All right, so you need not sweat the small stuff. There's gonna be plenty of stuff. You just let it roll over. And also pick your fights.
Okay.
We don't like to talk about fights in marriage, and I don't mean fight. I don't mean physical fighting. You hear me? Physical fighting is off the table. It's a no-no. Okay, but disagreements. I know that there are some couples that say that they never had an argument, a disagreement. Now that's a marriage that must be in heaven.
Not on this earth.
Not made in heaven, but it must be in heaven.
Because on this earth.
On this earth, if you stay with somebody a long time and don't have a disagreement, one of you don't stand for very much. So
they will happen.
Disagreements will happen. But pick the areas you want to hunker down on. Things that are very important to you and to the family. If it's important that it's going to be disruptive and detrimental to the family, I think you ought to hunker down. Okay, I won't move off of this.
Right.
This is the hill I'm willing to die on. Okay. But I want to make sure that the hill that I choose to die on is a holy hill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, backed up by holy scriptures.
Right.
So I don't want to stand out there on my own ego,
Right.
and not immovable because of myself.
Right.
But make sure that it is something that's going to be disruptive to the family or harmful to the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you hunker down, okay, and stand your ground, I'd say.
Okay.
But be willing to be pliable and all this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Be pliable. And don't insist on winning every argument.
Okay, I like that.
Because what happens when you insist on winning every argument
Mm-hmm.
at all costs, then you make your partner a loser.
Wow.
That person become a continuous and a constant loser.
Okay.
And no loser want to be a loser all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If that is their lifestyle, then that loser ain't going to hang around long.
Right.
He's going to get tired of losing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to go find a place where he can win.
Where he can win.
Yeah.
Okay.
So make sure in your confrontations that you work for win-win situations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't have all what I want. You can't have all you want, but there's got to be a middle ground.
Right.
Okay, so seek for the middle ground,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to kind of operate in the win-win zone.
Okay.
Then I win at your cost and at all costs.
Mm-hmm. I like
so
that.
I would say do that, and that will help with your marriages or your relationship. Okay, so those are the things that I had jotted down that I would offer a young couple.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I got most of them. So it was let's see. Number one was use common sense. Use common sense. Common sense ain't common.
Mm-mm.
But if you got it, use what you got. Number two was don't sweat the small stuff. Number three was pick your battles. Make sure that you aren't the only one that's winning. You are in a relationship and you are a team. And so you can't win all the time. So you want to make sure that you aren't the only one that's winning. And number four was don't insist on winning every argument. Yes, I love those. I love those. And, y'all get some really good comments. Keisha says, this is real good. KLP Black says, ooh, daddy talking. Ain't it though? Y'all see where I get it from? It's all this good wisdom right here. Right here. And so I didn't see any questions. I said if anybody had questions. Oh, Santasha's on. He said, I'm trying to learn to shut up. It be hard sometimes, so help me, Jesus. Pull it in, pull it in.
Put a donut in it.
Put it on. Eat when you argue. Okay, all right. Let's see. This is a question. It says, what if one person falls out of love with the other one? What do you do if you're married and your spouse has seems like they have fallen out of love with you? How do you handle that?
That's a good question, and I can't answer that from experience, but I can probably feel that will be a real hard place to be in, and to trying to rekindle a fire that's is gone out or almost gone out requires a lot of prayerful work.
Yes.
And I don't have a recipe except just keep doing, what you're doing and should be doing, and to nurture and to be kind and to make sure that you're not adding to the withdrawal.
Okay.
I think if you hound the person, you're only going to push them further and further away. But you got to make sure that you're doing the things that you do to promote and fulfill the needs of the person who's there's a book called His Needs.
Yes,
and
I
Her
have
Needs.
His needs, her needs.
And there are certain things that men kind of require to keep their fire going. And it would be good for ladies to understand, some of those key elements that men like. And it would be good for men to also understand that there's certain things that women kind of require in order to keep their generators going.
Okay.
And so with the conversation and understanding, that might be something that you might want to do is kind of understand what makes a man tick, what drives him away.
Right.
And there is no magic bullet, to deal with, alienation of affection. It happens across all spectrums,
Right.
rich, poor. So it requires a God orchestrated approach, I would think.
Yes.
Okay. You want to add anything to that?
No, like he said, we have to have God in that. And hopefully the person that has fallen out of love have a desire for that love to be rekindled.
Right.
And then get to the reasons that it happened, and then start working on that as much as possible.
Okay.
What caused, it to begin? Or where did it start? And try to work from there.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And this is the book my dad was talking about, his needs, her needs. It's called Building an Affair-Proof Marriage. And the author is Willard F. Haley Jr. I started reading this book. My dad gave this to me several weeks ago. And so I started reading it. It's really, really good. I'm not married, but I was getting some nuggets into the mailman when I was reading it. And I think that's what, to understand each other and to live with somebody for 55 years, you have to understand how they think, what makes them tick. And so that you can dwell, what the Bible says, dwell with wisdom.
Dwell according to knowledge.
According to knowledge, thank you.
When you know you got something that's going to tick them off, why go there?
Right. Yeah. So I have really, really enjoyed this. I hope that you all have enjoyed it too. And so we're going to end for tonight. I do want to, before I jump off, we always do on the show a church girl shout outs. And our church girl shout outs is for a female owned and operated business ministry that I like to highlight. And this week I want to highlight Erica Michelle Bailey Ministries. She has a wonderful ministry that's called Girl I See You Movement. And so Val, if you could put that link in there, she is on Facebook. You can reach her at Erica Michelle Bailey. And so I want you all to check her out. She has a wonderful ministry. I was able to minister a couple years ago in beautiful Destin, Florida, at one of her women's conferences. It's an amazing, she's doing an amazing work. So I want you all to check her out. So Val, let's put the link out there. Hey, Sierra, this was good. So I thank you all so much. Tony is on here. I'm so sorry I didn't get to shout you all out, but we got so deep in the conversation. I wanted to share with you all great content. So be sure to check Erica Michelle out. On next week, for All Love Month, we're dealing with everything that's relationship. So next week, I'm having my girls on, y'all, and we're going to be talking about what women want. It's going to be juicy. Jazz, you do not want to miss it. I'm having my sisters on and my girl Kamisha from Dallas, and we're going to be talking about what women want. So if you're a woman, I need you to be on here. If you are a man, I need you to be on here. If you're married, I need y'all to be on here. Tell us if we're tripping or not. But we're going to be talking about what women want. And if you want to tell us what you want in a video format, feel free to email me what you want in a mate. Again, thank you everybody for joining. I love you all with the love of the Lord. Y'all have any parting sayings?
God bless you.
Good night.
Y'all have a good night.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you all enjoyed that on tonight. I had just an awesome time sharing that with you. If you are joining now and you haven't shared it yet, I'm going to ask you to do that. Just a little addendum or correction. next week, our subject is not going to be what women want. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to be calling it Finding Love After 40. That's going to be our podcast for next week. I'm so geeked. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to have my very own sister Valerie's going to be on here giving us the woman's perspective. And then y'all, we're going to have Marcus Davis on here giving us a male perspective. So I am excited about it. I hope you all will join us on next week. We're going to do it a little bit later. Check the flyer. It says it's going to be at 8 o'clock on next Tuesday instead of 7 o'clock. So 8 o'clock next Tuesday night, we're going to be talking about finding love after 40, all the challenges, all the frustrations, all the everything, especially in the Christian community, how we do that. So I'm so geeked and so excited about that on next week. Again, thank you all so much for joining me on tonight. I do appreciate it. I do not take it for granted. Again, feel free to share this with a married couple, someone that's single, somebody that's engaged. They need all this good wisdom that we heard on tonight. Again, thanks so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you all on next week. Good night.
Thanks so much for joining me on this week's episode of Church Girl Chats. I hope this conversation blessed you, challenged you, or gave you something to think about as you walk out this kingdom life. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't keep it to yourself, sis. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a chat. And don't forget to spread the word. Share this with a friend, your sister, or your church group. Let's keep building this amazing community together. I can't wait to chat with you again next week. Until then, stay blessed, stay faithful, and remember, God's got you, sis.